Hey everyone, what's going on? Christopher, the video game historian here with another real history of video, and this time I'm taking a look at the history behind the new map Marita. This is the fourth map DICE has released for Battlefield 5 and takes place prior to the events of the map Mercury. Now while Mercury takes place during the Battle of Crete, Marita takes place during the German invasion of the mainland in the Battle of Greece. This is the real history of Operation Marita. Now before I begin, this video is brought to you by Phineas Coffee, the coffee company for gamers. They've been supporting my channel for the last few months, and without their support, I wouldn't be able to continue doing what I do on this channel. Now I'm not really much of a coffee drinker, but I have been drinking their coffee each and every morning for my morning wake up before I head off to work. And honestly, I must say that their coffee certainly gives me the energy that I need to make it through my day. If you would like to try their coffee out, as well as help support me on my channel, simply go to phineascoffee.com and use my promo code VGHistorian to receive 5% off your order, which in turn helps support me. Now with that said, let's head back to Greece for this week's video. Similar to how Operation Mercury was the German codename for the invasion of Crete, Operation Marita would be the codename given to the planned invasion of Greece in 1941. However, the Battle of Greece would begin much earlier in October of 1940. On October 28th, Italian dictator Benito Mussolini sent troops to the border of Greece along Albania, in order to show off his military might as well as to potentially woo Adolf Hitler. With his forces along the Greco-Albanian border, he issued an ultimatum to the Greeks, stating that they had 3 hours to permit his forces to enter Greece and to occupy unspecified strategic locations. Before the deadline was up, however, the Italians invaded Greece, pushing towards Epirus, but would eventually be halted by Greek resistance, who managed to push them back into Albania at the Battle of Ila Kalamas. With the Italians pushed back, the Greeks began to fortify their northern border with troops from the eastern Mediterranean and western Thrace. After the invasion, it became clear that Greece could no longer remain neutral in the war, and fearing from another invasion by the Italians, or worse yet, the Germans, the Greek government began talks with the British to allow Allied troops in the area. In February of 1941, Britain began dispatching soldiers to Greece, mainly Australian and New Zealander troops from Egypt under the command of General Maitland Wilson. With British forces now beginning to occupy the islands of Lemnos and Crete, as well as the mainland, Germany was forced to push up their own plans of invasion into Greece from November. Germany's interest in Greece was not to support their allies, but rather to secure their southern flank for their own invasion into Russia, as well as to protect their oil fields in Bulgaria. The Battle of Greece would kick off officially on April 6, 1941, as the German Luftwaffe began a bombing campaign along northern Greece and Yugoslavia. As the Germans began their invasion, they managed to quickly overrun the British and Greek forces, and with the Luftwaffe in the air, they were able to prevent the British from sufficiently deploying troops to any one area to halt the ground advance. It wouldn't be long until the Allied forces were forced to fall back. The German XL Panzer Corps, under the command of Lieutenant General George Stumm, managed to cut off Yugoslavia from Greece with their capture of Prelep. By April 9th, not only had Stumm captured the town of Monastir, after which his attention was turned to Florina, Greece, in order to cut off the rest of the Greek troops in Albania from the rest of the mainland, but also the 2nd Panzer Division in the east, under General Rudolf Weil, managed to take and occupy the town of Thessalonica after quelling Greek resistance in Yugoslavia. While these attacks forced the Allies to retreat, Greek troops up in the mountain managed to fare a little bit better against the German war machine. The Greek Second Army managed to inflict heavy losses onto the Germans due to their heavy fortifications and forts up along the Metaxas line. However, they would soon be effectively cut off from the rest of the troops, and on April 9th as well, were forced to surrender. As the Allies kept falling back, the German war machine kept rolling on through the country, and by April 20th it became clear that there wasn't anything more that they could do to stop their advance. 3 days later, the Greeks surrendered to the Germans, while their government, including their king, managed to escape and evacuate to Crete. Evacuations for the Allied troops would begin the next day on April 24th, with nearly 50,000 troops being evacuated by the end of the week. Unfortunately, there were still pockets of isolated troops trapped on the mainland who were cut off from the retreat and unfortunately were left behind. With the help of the local population, many were able to escape, with others becoming prisoners of war. By April 27th, the Germans would capture and end up occupying the Greek capital of Athens. After the Greeks surrendered, the city was occupied jointly with the Italians, as the country was split into 3 separate zones for the Germans, Italians, and Bulgarians to occupy independently. As far as the casualties go, the British would end up losing over 900 men with 1,200 wounded, while the Greeks lost a staggering 13,000 men and 62,000 wounded. Winston Churchill's Chief of Staff General Sir Alan Brooke would note that this operation was a strategic blunder on the part of Great Britain. Winston Churchill did not disagree. The only silver lining that this campaign had was that it delayed the German invasion of Russia by just a few weeks, which forced the Germans to race against the clock in hopes to complete their invasion before winter. Spoiler alert, they weren't able to, and Operation Barbarossa does not go well for them, as they were ill-equipped to continue fighting the Soviets throughout the Russian winter. And that's all I have on the history behind the new map Marita. What are your thoughts on this map so far, and what's your favorite game mode to play on? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media with Twitter and Facebook, and until next time, I'll see you all on the battlefield.